This is an old-age home for dolphins in Grassy Key, Florida. Here live dolphins not needed in dolphinaria anymore. They must be kept active or they'll waste away.
Okay, Delphi, it's your turn. Got it?
One of the dolphins has a rather unusual hobby. He paints abstract pictures.
Good boy, Delphi.
He's the Picasso of the dolphin
Oh,
world.
you're dabbing now.
Actually, he's been trained to paint, but he does appear to enjoy it. Such behavior has little to do with high intelligence.
That's beautiful. You checking your work out? Good boy. One more. Oh, that's beautiful. Are you done? Oh, yes. It's a masterpiece. Yes, that's so pretty. You guys are the stars.
Are dolphins intelligent? Perhaps even more intelligent than humans? Well, they do have a rather large brain, even larger than that of a human. And that's the reason why brain researchers became interested in dolphins even 40 years ago. I believe, however, that one can't adequately measure and compare intelligence. One thing is certain, dolphins do have amazing capabilities. Dolphins make special sounds, but not as we do with larynx and with mouth. Instead, in this nasal plug here, the sounds go out through this fatty forehead called melon and into the water. The high-frequency sounds, called clicks, are used for orientation and to find food. These signals are sent out towards boats, towards fish, and come back as echo. The system is called sonar, or echolocation, and it is so good that dolphins can tell the difference between these two objects, for example, at a distance of 30 meters, or about 90 feet. With these sounds, which appear to us as a rasping and whistling, dolphins communicate.
And I just want to talk to such...
This is John Lilly. He began research on dolphins in the 1950s. With his assistant, Margaret Howe, Lilly attempted to study intelligence and especially potential language capability of dolphins. For this work, he even built a house by the sea with enclosed swimming pools so that one could interact with the dolphins day and night. Lilly and Howe studied language capability for several years, and they took a further step.
Not me.
They also tried to teach dolphins human language, and that sounds like this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Whether dolphins can really count is not known. Before Lilly's work, it had been discovered that dolphins also make sounds higher in frequency than that what we humans can hear. One can slow down the sounds to put them into our range of hearing, and one can show them on a computer screen. On Oahu, Hawaii, there are several research dolphins. This is Ken Martin. He's preparing for an experiment.
Here today? Hey, anybody home? Huh?
The experiment today is to be carried out with the dolphins Keola, Okoa, Puna, Laukani, and Itsy Bitsy. Ken Martin from the perspective of a dolphin. And this is the laboratory. Sushi, Ken's assistant, is in there as well. The dolphins are probably wondering, what's going to happen today? Ken watches to see whether Keola is paying attention. She sure is.
Okay, here we go. Now, you know this is me. We're going to find out if you know if that's you in a mirror. We'll set it up, mirror covering almost the entire window.
Sushi attaches a sheet to the observation window. The researchers can look through it, but to the dolphins, the window is now actually a mirror. The underwater recording of the photographer shows that the dolphins can no longer see into the laboratory. Ken and Sushi are trying to discover whether dolphins have a sense of self, can recognize their own bodies. They measure the reactions and lengths of times of dolphins at the mirror. Ken and Sushi are convinced that when a dolphin reacts like this, it does recognize itself. Unfortunately, many researchers can only do their research with captive dolphins. Here in Hawaii, Ken is working with dolphins which are no longer needed in shows of the Dolphinarium Sea Life Park. Research is also being conducted in the Dolphinarium of Nuremberg, Germany. Lorenzo von Felsen is trying to determine to what degree dolphins can distinguish and memorize shapes. Emmy was pre-trained to recognize a particular shape which she must now identify in photo slides projected underwater. She must select the oval form of the two forms which can constantly alternate. On the side is a trigger for selection. For hours, the researchers count how often she does it correctly.
Bravo, Emmy. Sehr gut. Jo.
When she decides correctly, Emmy gets a fish reward. Today has not been a good day for the research. The underwater camera kept distracting Emmy. Dolphin Eva is conditioned, that is trained, for the color blue. She's being asked to find blue in the ever-changing photos. Again, if she's correct, she also gets fish. This is called positive reinforcement. Here, Eva must concentrate. And upon the whistle, the experiment begins. Eva's responses, by touching snout to blue, are carefully documented. In this manner, the sophistication of use of color by dolphins is being studied. Much scientific knowledge on dolphins comes from research done by the American Navy. One of the first Navy dolphins was named Tuffy. He was used for many experiments and also to save people. That was in 1965. The American Navy has several hundred dolphins. Many of them patrol military installations and atomic submarines, serving as underwater guard dogs. They also have dangerous jobs, such as this pilot whale searching for a torpedo. Several dolphins have died in Vietnam and in the Gulf War. Filming of dolphins in the American Navy has recently been forbidden. This is in contrast to the Russians, where filming is now being allowed. Here, a Russian officer is showing how the U.S. Coast Guard is utilizing dolphins from the air. This is quite an old video clip, however. The Black Sea Fleet also uses several captive dolphins for potential warfare. The caretakers would like to be free of them because installations and feeding have become very expensive. This dolphin is supposed to learn to attack an enemy diver and incapacitate him, like an underwater watchdog. When a dolphin dies, it even gets a military burial. This one died rather young. Up to now, only research on dolphins in captivity has been shown, but other scientists prefer to study the animals in nature. Of course, that means traveling out to nature to see the dolphins. In Galveston, this is not difficult. Dolphins can be found just about anywhere. The study of dolphins in nature gives a valuable perspective of how they live in the real world. It's important to be able to distinguish individual animals.
These aren't postcards. They're photos we took of dolphins in Galveston Bay. Each dorsal fin is different, like fingerprints in humans. This one, for example, is multi-notch. He hangs around in the ship channel. This one, right here, we call Rolf. He travels behind the fishing boats. That's quite understandable. And so, after some time, we can identify all of these animals, say where they travel, with whom they travel, how they feed. This research technique is a very important one for us these days.
This dolphin with a strange dorsal fin is called pointed finger. She's a female, over 4 years old. My students have taken thousands of photos and have identified over 1,000 different dolphins.
They're moving about medium speed. They're not bothered by the boat at all here. Okay, one more shot.
It is somewhat quicker to find dolphins from the air, and often easier to describe their behavior.
Looks like 5 animals traveling towards the northeast. Let me take a close look. Yes, if we could circle clockwise here, please. And we'll take a close look at these animals traveling towards the northeast. That's an interesting group configuration they're going into now. Let me try to get a picture or two of that as we pass around. So we make a pass. All right, there we go. Okay, and I'll try that again in a moment. I think we got a pretty good shot there at 1,000ths of a second as we moved along with the animals. All right.
This is Paul Spong. He lives on a small island in western Canada. He works underwater quite a lot. These are the largest underwater plants in the world. They form a giant kelp forest. Paul Spong is mounting underwater microphones called hydrophones. Paul is putting a radio transmitter into a tree. The signals of one hydrophone are picked up here and sent to the lab. Electricity is supplied by solar cells.
Sounds like distant echoes and cricket.
Uh-huh.
But what are the sounds that Paul and his wife Helena are expecting?
Sounds like A1 so far. They're definitely A's anyway.
Right. That's nice. This must be the guys that Dave saw earlier this morning. Are these on Creek Rock?
Paul Spong used to observe the dolphins which make sounds here from the water. But today he no longer goes out by boat to see them. He listens to them from a distance.
Good. Wait for some C5 calls here.
At the moment, he's connected to the sea by 10 hydrophones, which systems he all built himself. Everywhere on Paul's Island, one hears this music. These are the sounds of orcas. Orcas, unjustly called killer whales, are the largest of the dolphins. Males get up to 9 meters or 28 feet in length. About 170 orcas live around Vancouver Island. They live in groups called pods, and different pods have somewhat different sounds or dialects. Paul can even distinguish some individual orcas by their sounds. The orcas of each pod stay together for life. Sometimes several pods form a temporary superpod, where reproduction probably takes place. With help of the hydrophones, the spongs can always tell where the orcas are and along which routes they're traveling. When the orcas swim beyond the hydrophone setup, volunteers and far-flung neighbors often call positions in by radio. In this manner, by sound and shore observations, the orca pods of Hansen Island and the Orca Lab can be located and tracked every day.
They were right off Boat Bay at 7:30, and they were all westbound.
And were they going very fast?
Yeah, pretty quickly.
Some orcas stay in a small area for a while. Here, 2 or 3 pods have met.
Huh. Oh, that'll probably put them up near Craycroft fairly soon then. Oh, and you didn't see the C6s, eh?
No, we had one male that was out in the middle that we weren't quite sure about. Made us wonder that...
To track dolphins remotely like this has the advantage of not bothering the animals and not needing expensive boat time.
Sure, we might have missed some of the smaller ones.
Right, yeah, the fog has come down quite a bit.
Even during fog, one knows where they are.
Anyway, I wanted to show you notes. On VI.
Night has fallen on Hansen Island, but even in darkness, Paul and Helena are busy with the orcas. They always know where they are.